All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out tonight. Before we get started, I want to again thank Let's Be Blunt for helping organize and support these conversations. These events have been created to have a space for real conversations around the future of Blount County, and it's been good for our community so far. For those who may not know me, I'm Mike. I own Subs and Such. The goal of these evenings is simple. We wanted to create a space where local business owners, community leaders, and residents could sit down and have thoughtful, respectful conversations with the people who are asking to lead our county. Joining me tonight on the panel are a few people who are deeply connected to this community. We've got Katie Hanna, a small business owner who is a local travel advisor and has a professional photography company in Blount County for over the past 15 years. She and her husband are raising 2 kids that attend SESI, Blount County's hybrid homeschool program. So thank you for being here. We've also got Brent Dotson, owner of Dotson Funeral Homes, who has spent years serving families across Blount County. Hello, Brent. And then we have Ann Drake, a diamond-level award-winning realtor with Realty Executive Associates, and one of the top agents in our area, and has been a real estate agent for a number of years. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And so we're also really glad to have Brad Bowers with us tonight.
Thank you, Mike.
Brad is a candidate for Blount County Mayor, and Brad currently serves as a Blount County Commissioner representing District 8, and has been involved in county government and community issues for several years. So really appreciate you being here.
Yep.
Like the previous events, this isn't a debate and it's not a rally. It's simply an opportunity for the community here to hear directly from someone who wants to lead Blount County and to have a respectful conversation about the future of our county. So with that, let's get started.
All right.
All right, Brad, so you have served on the county commission, so you've already been a part of county government. How would your approach and responsibilities change moving from commissioner to mayor, and what would you do differently in that leadership role?
Well, that's a good question, Mike. I think building really good, close, personal relationships with each commissioner as mayor is vitally important in moving processes along, whether good or bad, but you need to know your county commissioner as a mayor. You need to know them well. I think our former mayor did a pretty good job of that. Hopefully I improve on that and do a better job. I think because open communication with each and every commissioner on a personal level, on a personal basis, is a positive thing for Blount County and anything we're trying to accomplish.
And you think the relationship building helps further the government more smoothly, or?
I do. I think it makes things run smoother. It makes commissioners understand things better. And one thing I've not heard the other ones say, Brett or Jared, is that we're going to have a whole new crop of commissioners this time. You know, the commission seats are going to change probably, 12, 13, 14 seats. So you're going to have a lot of new people that's going to have to learn processes relatively quick. And, I know even when I got on there, I'd kept up with county government for a long time. But when you get on there, you're kind of like a deer in the headlights for the first year or two, because you try to know a little bit about everything and you can't, because, as a county commissioner, you're working a job and you're trying to learn how to do things and what the processes are and Robert's Rules of Order and all of that stuff. So, yeah, I think in that leadership role and meeting with each county commissioner and kind of explaining some of that, and hopefully some of them can come to meetings, and if they've not been, when they get elected, at least they come to these next 3 or 4 and watch them and hopefully learn from that. But yeah, that might have been too long. But.
No, that's fantastic. All right, Katie.
First, I want to say thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
My understanding that all 5 candidates were invited, and we've been able to, be able to do this with 4. Is that correct? So thank you for taking the time. That
You're welcome.
shows.
Glad to be here.
It shows a lot about how you care about the people that will be voting for you. So I do appreciate that. I am not just a small business owner. I'm a very small business owner. I'm a sole proprietor. So I don't have.
That's okay.
I don't have employees. I have contractors and that sort of thing. I know that the mayor doesn't have as direct control over rent and taxes as much as like the county commission, but what levers could you pull, or grants or anything like that? Because if I do branch out from my home office and want an office space, rent's high.
It is high.
And we're doing our best over here, that us sole proprietors. So
What is it that you do?
I am a professional photographer, and
Okay.
I'm also a travel agent.
Okay. Well, they told me that at first.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay.
What could I do? I'm not really sure, but I think keeping our taxes low. I know I'm going to regurgitate some of what the other guys have said, but keeping our taxes relatively low helps everybody, especially helps small business owners, because I don't know if you are taxed. I don't know where you live, but I know a lot of times if you're working out of your house, we have things called a split assessment, where you may be taxed at 25% where you live. If you're doing it out of your basement, that may be taxed at 40%.
Oh, it
So,
yes,
definitely
you're right.
is?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have. Yeah.
So you have the
That's
split assessment?
I have a property. Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
pay taxes twice on my
Right.
same space.
Yep, and that's unfortunate, but that's
Right.
kind of state law.
Right.
So
That's
a lot
fine.
of
I
that's
don't
state
think
law,
that's
but
your fault.
I don't have no magic answer for that, other than I'm willing to be open and listen to any suggestions coming from the community or coming from business owners to try to bring that to the commission. Ultimately, commission votes on everything, but the mayor does have some influence and some direction, and hopefully I can use that in a positive way to help folks like you.
Thank you.
Brent.
Jeff or Katie, thank you for being here tonight.
You're welcome.
Everyone has their own backgrounds and points of view, but where do you disagree with the other county mayor candidates?
Where do I disagree? That's a good question, Brent. I think me and I know me and Brett and Jared all think kind of alike, and Jerome also. I don't know the other two as well, although I did serve with Sean Carter first term. But I think I do disagree with Jared a little bit on pay as you go, although I'm very pragmatic and very tight, for lack of a better word. But in government and business, as most of y'all know, debt's not a bad thing, but I just feel like if we're going to do some of the things that's planned hopefully down the road, or that's been presented in some of our comprehensive plans, that we'll have to borrow money. And that's one of the reasons I got on county commission, was to lower that debt, and we've done that drastically. So I really don't want to head back that direction, but I don't know if that's disagreeing with Jared, but it kind of is. Brett, the only really thing I can disagree with Brett on, I like Brett. Brett has no experience in county government, and that might be a good thing, but I just feel like I bring to the table a lot of experience, a lot of different work experience, and that's probably where I differ from him. I won't say nothing bad about those guys because I like them. So I think we'll all be trying to do the right thing.
So you would not rule out tax increases?
I won't ever say I'd rule them out. I don't want them. We obviously don't want them. I want to say the first year I was on the commission, we raised the tax rate 33 cents above the certified rate, and I did not vote for that. We were in kind of a pickle because we had needed to fund some things and just didn't have what it was going to take with the certified rate to get to that number. But yes, I want us to try to stay right around the certified rate, which is what the state says we need to have to bring in what we did for the budget the previous year. Now, with growth, as you all know, we have inflation, we have cost of living raises, generally at least 2.5% every year. So your budget grows up. Now, can you cut some things? Sure. But if you can keep that tax rate right around that certified rate, or maybe a penny above, that's where I want to be as a county, because I want to be a good steward of our money.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Ann.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ann. I've heard your name a lot.
Thank you for all you've done for the community through the years. My question obviously will have to do with real estate
Sure.
and housing.
Yeah, I got a little experience in that.
I know you do. So do you see affordable housing as an issue for Blount County? Why or why not? And then I'll pivot another direction.
Okay. Yes, I think affordable housing is skyrocketed here, as it has many other places. My daughter's sitting out there. She was able to move back up here last August because we happen to know somebody that she could rent from much cheaper than the going rate of probably $2,000 a month for just a 3-bedroom home.
Do you have any suggestions or thoughts of how you would improve the situation?
You know, I've thought a lot about that, and I honestly don't know what the answer to that is. We live in a capitalistic society, so people, as long as the law of supply and demand, as long as supply is low and demand is high, you know that as well as I do, things are going to be high. And I don't see how we're going to level that out. I'll be open to any suggestions you have, Ann, or anybody else. I've talked with Pat about this a few times, and she don't know an answer either. But that's one thing I don't like to see. But it is kind of affordable housing, is the tract homes, the D.R. Hortons and the Smith Builts, but I personally don't like them in this area. I like our local builders, but those are kind of more affordable, even though I think they're highly overpriced. But that's what we got right now in Blount County, and I don't see a good answer, but I'm willing to listen to anybody and anybody's idea. I feel like that may be what sets me apart, is I understand things a little bit better on that end of things than Jared or Brett, and I'm willing to listen to you guys. I'm willing to listen to anybody. Hey, throw me an idea and say, hey, Brad, I got a great idea, and I'll go, okay, let's see if we can get a resolution and bring that. Now, I won't be able to do that as a mayor, but that's where you call your county commissioner and see if you can get them to do that.
Well, to continue on the growth that we are experiencing here in the county, kind of bring in the infrastructure piece of this as well.
Yeah.
We're growing very, very quickly, and a lot of residents feel like infrastructure and planning are always playing catch up to the development. From your perspective on the commission, what should the county be doing differently to stay ahead of the growth instead of currently reacting to it?
That's another good question too, Michael. We've actually tried to slow down growth, and this may not be a popular answer, but I've told people if I could go put a gate on the road and lock it and not let people in, I would, but we can't do that. I mean, we're going to grow whether we promote growth or not, because as in the real estate industry, we've said before, our little secret's out here in Blount County. People's heard about us. We got a very low tax rate. We got a great place to live. People working from home a lot more now with their computer. So they can come here and, they can sell their house in California for $1 million and come buy a bigger one here for $500,000 and have $500,000 in their pocket. So there's a lot of people finding that out, although our housing prices are staying up. And I don't know what time on market now is, Ann, but I still think prices are high. I think time on market's a little bit longer than it was a year or two ago. But is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Well, specifically from an infrastructure
roads,
standpoint. Yeah.
Schools,
all of that. How do we?
We need, we did some of that.
The commission passed.
We passed a comprehensive plan with some traffic, and I think we need to do more in-depth traffic studies. We need to know that plan was good, and we can take a lot of good from it, but we need to be more specific where we need to do things, not just go, oh, you need more roads, or you need. Well, where do we need more roads? Where do we need to widen roads? Where do we need more red lights? Now, that's a city thing. As far as I know, what I can remember about Blount County, we don't govern or take care of about 2 or 3 red lights. One is right up next to Chapman Highway at Burnett Station. Blount County monitors that one, and maybe 1 or 2 more, but those red light things and traffic like that is controlled by the City of Maryville, City Alcoa.
And I don't want to take up a ton of time with another follow-up question, but thoughts on Pellissippi Parkway? Pellissippi
Parkway. I've been torn on that one for years. I've known this has been in the pipeline for years. I used to be kind of for it. I'm kind of against it now. I see the need for it. But on that note, driving down here today, I was thinking back on 321. I was 16 years old, and Governor Lamar Alexander said, we're going to widen 321. We're going to make it 4 lanes. We're going to put a turning lane in the middle of it. And it was a 2-lane road. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I'm the old guy here, but a couple of them shaking their head. I'm like, why in the world would we want to build bigger roads? And I was just thinking, driving down here, if we didn't have this 4-lane highway, it would be backed up bumper to bumper right now from Maryville to Heritage to Townsend. So we do have to look at building bigger roads and putting them in the right places. Although I've read some studies and looked at some things that says when you build bigger roads, you make wider roads, you lessen your traffic, then everybody goes, hey, there's not much traffic in Blount County, let's move there. So then it's a double-edged sword, you know. You kind of fix the problem and create a different problem in a way. But I don't know if that.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Is that pretty good?
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to pivot kind of back to just the schools and the county, and I have 2 kids that go to SESI.
SESI's great.
I know, I love it. I'm a big fan. We've been there for 7 years, so we came in really early, and I have a 9th grader and a 4th grader, and so we are county schools, but we get to educate from home for 4 days, and so that's really, really nice.
Yeah.
And so.
Do you do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a tough job. My
yeah.
daughter homeschools.
Yeah, it's well.
So it's kind of homeschool. It's not homeschool, but it is kind of
Well,
a little
what's
bit.
wonderful about SESI is that they have the curriculum is there. It's already the Blount County
Right,
Schools
exactly.
curriculum.
Yep.
And so, like my 9th grader is on autopilot. I don't have any idea. I know her grades, but I don't have any idea
As
what
long
she's
as the grades
doing.
are good, you're
her
good.
grades are great.
Yep.
And you give a little bit more assistance for the elementary age.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not as entailed for me, so I'm able to
Right.
work.
Yeah, exactly.
So my, I guess, question, comment, kind of want to know your feelings on it. How do you feel about, or kind of, you know, the better relationship that Blount County school system and the school board have now with the county commission and the mayor's office? That's a better relationship. So since you've been here for, on the commission for so long,
Yeah.
kind of what's your thoughts, feelings on that? Because of course, someone in my seat is happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think anytime folks are getting along, it's a positive thing for everybody in the community.
Because it wasn't, like that, I
Yeah,
guess.
and I don't really know what caused that animosity, but it wasn't a good thing. And hopefully that's gone by the wayside and we're moving forward and being positive and working together. And I think Blount County Schools is great to begin with. And, it's just like any business school system. We got 3 great school systems here in Blount County. You can always improve on them. You can always find places that you can improve, but
How do you feel about the current one?
our current school system now?
Yes, system and school board, and we've just had a lot of changes.
We
How do you
have
feel
had a
about
lot
our-
of changes, and
our
I've
current
not
one?
gotten to know a lot of them. I've gotten to know a couple of them pretty good, and I think it's moving in a positive direction. So obviously, I will try to continue that because I think you do need to have open, honest communication between the mayor's office and the school system. Although that's a totally different thing. You have a school board running that budget. They present it to the county commission.
Right.
County commission approves that budget. So that's about the only thing we really, as a county commission, had to do with schools, really. As mayor, I feel like you can bridge those gaps and keep those relationships good. So I will definitely try to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to touch briefly on growth and development. Blount County is growing quickly. How do you balance development with preserving rural character?
Oh, Brent, I've thought a lot about that one a lot, and there's not a good answer for it either. I feel like growth, if you're talking about, are you talking about like residential housing or business, just all the above, but mostly probably houses and
That's
things?
what it comes to mind first. Yes.
Okay, yeah. Well, I feel like that was one thing I think came out of the plan was to increase our suburbanizing zone a little bit bigger because, I've actually been around planning and stuff, working in environmental health. I worked in development services department, so I knew about those guys and plans about planning, and that's where your planning and your growth should take place around your cities to preserve that rural countryside and that rural farmland. And I think expanding that suburbanizing zone a little bit bigger to allow for housing there is probably the way I would like to see it. You obviously can't tell people what to do with their property. I'm also a very strong private property rights person.
That was what I was going to ask. Do you support stricter zoning or planning controls, or should property rights take priority?
I think it's a good balance of both, but I do feel like I always like to lean toward the homeowner or the landowner and what they can do. And I know in my jobs when I've done that, I never break the rules, but I try to help that person as much as I can within the rules. So I've made this is funny, but I've made this statement before. I'm like, well, we've got a 300-acre farm. If I want to build a Motel 6 on it, I ought to be able to. But, that don't make sense. But I'm just saying, government sometimes needs to get out of the way, loosen regulations a little bit. I would certainly be willing to look at any of that. And we've looked at that, and 3 years ago, we changed lot sizes because that's when we first did this development growth plan. And we changed it, I think, from 0.69 to 0.75 out in the county, which made it just a little bit bigger, so you can't get as many lots on a piece of property. So, but I haven't seen that slow it down any, but I don't know if that answers any of your questions or not, but I hope it did.
Yeah, thank you, it did.
Okay.
Well, I'll piggyback on that a little bit because that was actually my next question.
Did he steal your question?
Everybody's stealing my questions. No. But it is a hot topic.
It is a hot topic.
Affordable housing, but also protecting rights as a landowner. So there is a balance there.
Yes.
And I know there have been, a lot of heated conversations perhaps at some of the
Yeah.
meetings. My question was, have you reviewed the growth plan? Obviously you have.
Yeah.
And what is your stance on minimum lot size? Because as we said, in an effort to slow down growth in our county, the minimum lot size was raised to 3/4 of an acre. Mm-hmm. Whether you were on sewer or septic. So, and then how do you see that impacting the area? I think that's where you're talking some about the,
In the suburbanizing, yes.
yes. So are you in agreement then in those areas where, say, the land is already on septic and already on infrastructure that supports?
Yeah, that it's already on public sewer, yeah.
Yes.
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 Yes, because out in the county, you have to have a certain amount of property to put in a septic system, which
exactly.
is a big deal as a
Exactly.
realtor, as you know that. So, yeah.
But are you in favor of relaxing that requirement, that 3/4 of an acre for county lots that already have available sewer, or they already have those available services?
When you say county lots, do you mean like an R1? Because I don't really know of anywhere in R1 that's got sewer.
Okay.
There may be a small pocket here and there, but I don't know of any. So I would say no to that just because I don't think that's going to help anything.
Okay. So obviously it's a hot topic
It
for
is.
everybody.
It
And
is.
and my kids don't live here now, but they've said, Mom, we wouldn't be able to buy anything if we did come back. And I work with first-time home buyers, or I work with all kinds of buyers, and that's what I hear over and over is I can't afford to rent, I can't afford to buy. What do I do? And so I guess how would you work with commission and with the citizens, and what would be some of the things you would recommend?
I would like to do more of this right here, have a lot more discussion. And certainly as mayor, that would allow me to do some of that stuff, meeting more with realtors. And I've met with Pat a couple of times on that as a commissioner, but also as a realtor working under her. We talked about things, and we didn't always agree, but we both always saw each other's side.
Right.
I told her as a commissioner, I'm hearing from all the realtors, but I'm hearing from 300 other people over here on this side telling me I need to do this.
Right.
So it's a tough balancing
It
act.
is,
But
yeah.
I'll be willing to have more open discussions with realtors and with our commissioners and see if we can come up with a good answer, because I just don't feel like there is one.
Because I think it's not only realtors, like as a realtor and a mom, I'm looking at affordable housing, but it's,
Absolutely.
it's other,
crazy.
It's other people as well. So,
And
it's
I've not kept up with it much in the area around Blount County, but I'm pretty much sure it's the same in Knox and Sevier, Monroe too, isn't it?
yes, I end up taking some of my buyers down to Madisonville, Sweetwater,
Yeah.
Von Orr.
But are prices that much lower? I know there's some lower, but
Some, yeah.
but not a lot.
Yeah. But anyway, okay, thank you.
All right, so gonna completely pivot off of infrastructure.
Sure.
I've got 2 3-year-olds at the house.
Oh, I dropped my mic. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
We'll get it back.
You can hold it like this.
Okay. Oh. There we go. Okay.
Do you want me to?
Here, let her help it. Women are better at that than men.
Then you?
Yeah,
get it.
absolutely.
There you go.
Can you hear him?
Can you hear me
wanna-
now? Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sorry.
So me and my wife, we have 2 3-year-olds at the house.
Oh, bless your heart.
No, it's awesome. It honestly is the coolest thing. But one of our missions here with the restaurant is to be really kind of focused on helping as many kids as possible.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of pivot to kids and the future of the county for the kids.
Yeah.
When you think about Blount County 10 or 15 years from now, what do you hope is better for the kids growing up here than it is today? And what role does county government play in making that happen?
Should we bring up Thunderworld again?
I mean, it seems like
I watched that one. I loved that. That was because I remember it too. But you know, you're talking about kind of activities like that, right? Correct?
or even things like Aspire Park out in Clinton.
Yeah, yeah.
We have a lot of tracts of land that are being lost because when somebody passes and their kids can't pay for it.
You're going to make me pivot right here. Because our state legislator last year passed the Tennessee Farmland Preservation Act. So they've got a bucket of money of about $25 million they've set aside right now to implement to help preserve some farmland. I'll try to make this brief, but my thinking on that is that whatever money Blount County can get, whatever money Blount County could put with that, and this is just an idea, but let's purchase some of this farmland. Let's purchase some small tracts and turn it into a park. Turn it into something for kids to use. And you know, we've got a pretty healthy fund balance. And I think in combination with that Farmland Preservation Act and what we could do as a county, we might be able to do something like that. And I don't know if that's exactly what you're saying, but I think that's some of it. Some outdoor activities, somewhere to go besides Sandy Springs Park. Maybe you go out in the county to what used to be a little farm or something, and we've turned it into a dog walking path.
Well, I think looking at a place like Aspire, which has some tax generating revenue inside of it,
right,
you know, could be something that can help offset some
You're
of the
going to
cost.
have to explain to me what a spider is. I don't even.
Oh, Aspire?
Aspire. I thought you said
Aspire. Aspire is.
It's a creepy one.
No. Sorry. Aspire is the coolest free park in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
It's a couple hundred acres.
So my daughter's shaking her head. She knows.
It is so awesome. And
Okay.
it was a very wealthy man that lives out in Clinton bought this land and developed this piece of property for families to go to and spend time. But they also have a restaurant there. They have some other things
Right.
that the families can spend some money while they're there.
So does the government fund that now?
No. It was a philanthropy.
It was a private
Yeah,
endeavor.
absolutely. But I think there's some opportunities, especially helping with the farmland that's being lost. Anyways, but are there other things that when you look at 10 or 15 years down the road that you hope are better for the kids? Not just parks, but what they're experiencing right now in terms of what they experience inside of schools.
I hope they get off their cell phones, but I probably don't see that happening. But because technology, that's another thing coming down the road, AI and all that. So you're going to have to deal with all that raising these kids. So
Yeah.
I honestly don't know what it's going to look like in 10 or 15 years, but I hope they're still out playing in the parks and we can preserve some of the farmland for them to do that. And I don't know if the government needs to be in private business, but we're kind of like that with Eagleton Ballpark, which was a good endeavor for our community. We've turned it, because both my kids played travel ball and we had to travel outside of Blount County. I always wanted to see something like that in Blount County. And, if you can do like that and turn it over maybe to a private entity where it's not costing us anything. And my thing is I wanted to get a little revenue back, but as far as I know right now, it's just going to be revenue neutral for Blount County, but a place for kids to play ball. And if we could do something like that with some of the farmland, that would be great, because might be all kinds of ideas coming from folks like you.
And then it's not another 90 townhomes.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Mom, I'm a mom, small business owner, and I wonder, it's kind of like, you want everybody to get along. It's like
Yeah.
you ever want to put one of those get along T-shirts on your kids? Like
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Do they fight?
Mine don't, but well, it's just because my daughter wins, and
Okay.
yeah.
So there's
So
no
my
fight.
son doesn't
There's no
even
fight.
he doesn't even try anymore. So in Blount County, we have, and I don't mean this to be a spicy question, but my delivery, I hope it's not. But in Blount County, we have pockets of opinions, pockets of good old boy this, good old boy that, and I'm not really being specific at all. People who like the county commission that don't, people who like the new changes in the school board, people who don't. As mayor, what is your plan to put a get along t-shirt over everybody. And I know that you can't make everybody get along. That's fine. But you're in a really key place. Yeah. And you've been here and you've been on the commission for so long and you know so many people. And I'm sure you have your own opinions and friends and stuff. But what is your plan there to kind of bridge some of these groups that
Don't get along?
Need a get along t-shirt.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think you're definitely right, and I think that is one thing God's blessed me with is I'm able to get along with people really well, and I think that carries over to other people, and I think I can bridge that gap with some people and go, hey, you need to get along, just like you do with your kids. You know, we're gonna have to get along and get things done, and
put them in the same room, put them at the same table.
Yeah, we're gonna get in here till we get this figured out.
I like that.
That's just kind of how that would be my approach.
Okay, that's a good approach. The mom in me that would say, just make them sit down.
Yeah.
As the owner of a 46-year-old family-owned funeral home in Wildwood, I've seen firsthand how small businesses are the backbone of the community. What plans would you pursue to expand or improve services like convenience centers for household trash, public Wi-Fi, and other amenities that help small businesses, especially those in the outer parts of the county?
I kind of missed that middle part. Did you say pass on the business?
Let's look it back up.
I'm sorry.
The backbone of the community.
I hear bad out of this ear.
No, how small businesses are the backbone of the community. So what plans would you pursue to expand or improve services like convenience centers for trash, public Wi-Fi, and other amenities that help small businesses, especially those in the outer parts of the county?
Yeah. Well, you know, Brent, you talked about this briefly before. You're one of the few that have people that have a business out in the county because you were grandfathered in. Yay for you. But that's an idea that's been tossed around quite a bit, is having convenience centers for trash pickup. And of course, we did create the one over on MacArthur Road at Development Services where you can take your trash, you can take your glass recycling, which I was a part of that.
Can they take trash there?
I thought they did. They maybe don't.
I thought it was just recycling only, because I know that the reason I asked that question is because
I think they did first. Maybe they changed it. I don't know. I'd have to check on that and get back with you. But
because I know every county besides Blount has convenience centers where residents can take household trash, even the North Carolina counties.
Right.
And I remember, I'm old enough to remember years ago, you could go to the dump and there's dumpsters out front. You could take your trash.
Yeah.
As a resident.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea, and that's something I'd be looking to implement. At least, you know, one on one end of the county and one on the other.
Absolutely, yeah, because there's an extra expense for folks to have to pay a garbage service.
But I thought you could drop it over there. But that would be the only one. I think another one or two around would be a good idea. Yeah. And we should have some county property where that would be a possibility, I would think. Like some older school areas and things, maybe. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
We may have already touched on this. Blount County ranks at the top of many polls and surveys as a great place to live, and we are proud of that.
Oh, yeah.
Very proud of that, and we can see why we rank that way. How do you feel about the growth? Do you think we need to slow it down a little bit? Do you think or just some of your thoughts on what we need to do, because we continue
to grow and we outgrow the infrastructure. So just some thoughts on that.
I have thought we needed to slow it down. It's like I said before, I don't know how we do that. That's a tough thought. I mean, I even presented this. I sent an email to CTAS, which is our County Technical Services Assistance Service. I'll get it out in a minute, but I'd talked to some people around the community in the county about imposing an impact fee or a impact tax or something like that. A lot of people are in favor of that to help slow growth. And, you know, I don't know if it would or not, but it might a little bit. Basically, they got back to me and told me I couldn't do that. But I'm pretty sure I can. My semantics might not have been quite right when I worded that, but yeah, I would like to see it slow down because I know our county's growing, I think, at around 2% per year, I believe. So we're adding probably 2,000 people a year. Is that about what you're hearing or in your numbers too? So that's strong growth, especially since 2020 to 2026. I think it's already been about 10,000 people. Right. Yeah, so
And the demographics, do you feel like it's mostly retirees, elderly people moving here? Or do you see families? Do you see young professionals moving here?
I don't, and I think it's just a mix.
A mix.
I think it's a good mix. I really do, because I know several people in those categories you just named that have moved here.
Okay.
Some moved here before COVID. A lot of, COVID flipped everything on its head. So that's when everybody found out about our little secret here in Tennessee, because we were open and everybody else was closed. So.
Go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Well, this is just not even on my list of questions, but something I've thought about for years. It would be so nice if we had like a Y with an indoor pool and some things like that as something that the community or a community center. My kids were on the swim team.
Kind of like, I think Sevier County's got something like that.
Yes, and Kingsport has a really nice area like that.
I would be open to something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Anytime you can bring community closer together,
Right.
Whether it's city folks, county folks, if it's kind of centrally located and have them a place to go, then that's great.
I mean, that's
great.
expensive, that's for sure.
It is.
But people that are moving here, that's one of the things they'll ask about, or some of the
kind of like the entertainment thing, like
amenities.
Mike was
Yeah.
asking about a minute ago, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
I think those are great avenues to explore. That was one reason 4 years ago I wanted to get on the Parks and Rec board, because I wanted to see something like Eagleton Ballpark take place.
Yeah.
And that's kind of down those same lines. But yeah, anything like that, I'm for if we can do it and we can afford it and keep our tax
Right.
rate low. But we do have a pretty good fund balance now, so that might be doable, especially if you can get some grants, things like that, cost sharing with other cities, and obviously worth exploring.
All right, well, we've reached time, but since we're on my home turf, I'm going to ask the final question.
Oh, yeah.
If you were given the privilege to become our mayor and the constituents of this community said, you're our guy, what do you hope that you're remembered for 4 years from now?
I hope I'm remembered for leaving Blount County government and the Blount County people and population better off than they are now. And I think I've worked as a county commissioner to bring us this far pretty good, and as mayor, I hope to bring us even further.
That's perfect. I think that's a really good place to wrap things up for tonight. So first, thank you to Brad.
Thank you, Mike.
For taking time to be here, answer questions, and have a conversation with the community.
You bet.
It matters when people are willing to show up and engage.
Yes,
And
I
it's
agree.
noticed when they don't. So we
Yep.
greatly appreciate you being here.
Yep.
Also want to thank Katie, Brent, and Ann for being part of this discussion tonight and bringing the perspective of people who live, work, and run businesses here in Blount County. And again, a big thank you to Let's Be Blunt for helping organize this entire series and creating opportunities for the community to come together and talk about the future of Blount County.
Yep.
So over the past few weeks, we've had a lot of good conversations, and regardless of where anyone lands politically, I think it's been good for the community to be able to sit down, talk, listen, and think about where we're headed as a county. And at the end of the day, we all want the same things. We want a strong community, good opportunities for our kids, and a county that continues to be a great place to live and do business. So thank you all for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, everybody,
Katie.
for joining.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Very good.